Yo, 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 it's your boys coming into a sickly edition for your boy Spongerelli. I've been on the IR for the last since Monday. I don't know if your boy DH got me under the weather from Saturday's festivities. Apparently Caden had the flu, and then David thought he might have got sick, but he was only sick for like a day.
Yeah.
And both Hayden and I are sick as dogs, really. I actually had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I went and they think it's like a severe sinus infection or whatever. So I'm on some amoxicillin, got some hydrocodone syrup. So maybe I'll get some
Ooh.
lean. Maybe I'll get some lean later on tonight because I don't have to work tomorrow. That's
Put
the
you
other thing.
out.
I've had to work literally every day this week too in the morning, which has been brutal. But
Yeah.
we're working through it.
I caught a little something myself. Like
I mean, I think partly
throat
this cold weather has obviously
the
snapped
change
it.
in the weather. Definitely that's part of it too.
But yeah, neither there here nor we're here. We're talking some college ball. We had some crazy rivalry week. It was pretty wild. We started off with your boy. No banners today because that's how lazy I am. So we're just gonna just talk
You
ball.
good?
Um, we'll start off with your boys with the collapse of the Canes, man. They
That's a nice way to put it. But yes, collapse.
yeah,
I'll stick with that. I'll keep it PG.
yeah.
Um
It's pretty
uh
bad, man. You guys got nobody to blame but yourselves.
no, 100%. I
And
totally agree. A couple people have asked me how I felt about it. They're like, "Do you think you got screwed?" Yes and no,
right, you can
because
have that.
if you win that game, you're in. It
Right,
doesn't matter. It
right.
doesn't matter if the committee makes a decision or whatever. If you make it to the ACC championship game, you're in.
Yep.
So that's why I say I can't. I'm not mad because you win two of the three games left. You jump up 21-0 on Syracuse,
Yeah, man.
and then the offense does what the offense does throughout the whole season and kind of sputters a little bit here and there, and they just hit this where they're downshifting because they feel like they're okay, and then the defense can't stop. Man, it probably
Yeah,
is better that we lost to Syracuse because we probably would have been embarrassed by SMU, to be honest with you.
that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Even having to play some of those teams, possibly even the playoffs. It's like, who are you stopping? Like
Yeah,
it's I can't put my finger on whether or not like it's player personnel. Like
I think
they
it's a
just
little
don't
bit of
know.
everything.
They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
Your alignments, your
the
coaching
alignments have
adjustments.
been bad. The
It,
alignments have been bad
I don't
every game
I don't
since week
understand how you
one.
I don't understand how you can have the shit. Week one was your best game. You peaked against the
Hmm.
Gators. You played your best game
Hmm.
offensively and defensively the week one. And then you played that game like you wanted to smash the Gators, and then it's kind of been the trajectory's been up and down. Just
Yeah.
offense, defense has been like, like going
Well,
back to the Tech game with it, like you're getting outflanked with motion, no edge
yeah.
support, no like it's just
But
like
what's
what
nuts
are y'all
is,
doing?
but the crazy part is where I said, we still got kind of screwed is, and I'm not mad. It's whatever. I didn't think we were going to get it. I thought we had an outside chance, but
Yeah.
I don't think Bama should be in. That's just my opinion because I feel like even though we lost two games to two decent teams that are way above 500,
Yeah.
you lost by a total of 9 points, and you
Yeah.
had drives to possibly win those games. Like everyone's criticizing Mario about kicking the field goal. I'm like, that's just good situational football. Now I get it. You're sitting there saying, all right, you still got to go back on either way. You had to go back on defense and stop them.
Right.
So I feel like you take the three there, you get a stop, or you hold them to three. However you want to look at, you're still in the game. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if you would have went for it or not, because if you went for it, you didn't get it, you're still down 7, and your defense still has to make a stop. And I think there was once again, some bad officiating on some calls on the Damian Martinez run where a guy gets pancaked. All of a sudden, offensive lineman pancaking a defensive lineman is a holding call. So but at the end of the day, you're up 21-0. So
Yeah.
you really can't complain. You're up 21-0. You figure out a way. Even if they trade, once you're up 21, even if you just trade points the rest of the way, you win that game.
Yeah.
So
I don't
it was a good
understand.
year, a wasted year with a Cam Ward type
Heck
player,
yeah.
and
Totally.
it just is what it is.
Now, like I say, I think too, I think that this is where it goes back to your offensive coaching staff and stuff. Is like when you're up 21-0, like let's run the freaking ball, man. Let's
This is why Damian Martinez only had 10 carries.
Dude, like run the ball, like shorten the game, like everybody else.
Now you're jumping on my side about the running game.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
they could not stop them from running.
Yeah, like there's certain games where you got to be able to do both.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're up 21-0, then you don't have to like throw it every down, so you can run the ball,
And
so
that's where I've been saying that
tell,
all season.
I could just tell that this team, like when I said way back when I said like week 1, 2, 3, whatever, you guys were going to be more of a passing team. It was because Cam was so good and he was so special, but you still had to somehow work in being able to run the football.
The problem I have with how they run the ball, it's kind of like they take forever. It's like they slow down the offense. They slow it down to where they're running the clock and want to run the ball. And Cam, it's like everyone gets a little lackadaisical because you're getting out of rhythm. Instead of saying, you know what, you still could run a high tempo offense and run the football, but they didn't do it. So now you wasted a year with a generational quarterback. Now who knows? Everyone's probably going to opt out on Monday. Don't blame them. Once everything's official, opt out. Don't blame them. Go get your money. And now we see where they go from there. But it's sad because, like I say, it was a great year. It was a fun year as a Canes fan. Even the 2 games you lost, you weren't out of it. And that's where it's disappointing to me, where I said the SEC bias comes in. Whereas, and I said this to you, if you're Alabama and you get smoked by Oklahoma, how do you only drop 6 spots?
Yeah, no,
that's inexcusable. That is inexcusable on every level. And it's like
Ohio State only dropping like 4 spots. Getting
that was a terrible loss. That was a terrible loss as well. You both were more than 2 touchdown favorites, and so it shows you how everything is skewed for the brands.
No, for sure. That's definitely.
And I get it. That's just business. That's just business.
That's even like the argument that now it looks like we're only going to have one argument next week is if SMU gets beat by Clemson takes that spot.
If somehow SMU gets screwed, and they put Bama in, it's like, come on, man. Like, why? Like I've been saying, why are we playing the football games?
Yeah, that's where I'm in agreement, because they should not get punished for playing in the game. Like, Alabama gets to sit at home. They shouldn't get rewarded. The only way I could see that happening is if like Clemson beats them like 42-0 or something like that.
Which I don't see that happening. But yeah,
I don't really see that happening either. But yeah, so like I say, it was to me, beat Syracuse and you're in. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, especially being up when you're up 3 touchdowns. You gotta win that. You gotta win that game.
You gotta win that game. And like I said, that's the disappointing part is you couldn't muster up any points after you went up 21-0 for a quarter and a half, even if you got 3s the rest of the way. And like I say, that was the thing that worried me most of the year, because every game there were times where the team stalled out on offense and didn't put up points. And I'm over the argument of, yes, the defense was bad for majority of the season, but at the same time, the offense was that good to be a playoff-worthy team. Because you go back to 2019 LSU, that defense was not that good. They made enough plays. I mean, you go back and you look.
They played situationally well in certain games.
Yes, exactly. And I think, and I think that's where the problem is when you throw in a group of 5. Like, just say if UNLV wins, they beat Boise. Should UNLV really be in the playoffs?
Bottom line, guess what? I don't think Boise or UNLV should be in. Miami's better than both of them. You know what I'm saying? So like, we got to put these guys in the pity party.
But that's just where we're at, and
we got to give everybody a chance. But like that's what I'm saying. Like, we already knew going in, Boise or UNLV or somebody was going to steal a bid from a power team, like a Alabama, a Miami, an Ole Miss. Those teams should not be in.
And then, they're talking about Miami's schedule. Like, they played one of your 3 non-conference games was they played Florida. and then you play your ACC schedule comparative to Indiana and Penn State. Well, I guess
Right.
you give Penn State credit because they played Notre Dame. It's not their fault Notre Dame was bad. And
No, they didn't play Notre Dame this
it's
year.
Penn State? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember they won at the end of the game at Notre Dame where Tyler Warren had like almost 250 receiving.
No, dog. Penn State only
Sorry,
has one loss
USC.
to Ohio State.
USC. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah, yeah,
USC. I'm thinking
yeah,
USC.
yeah, yeah.
My apologies. But yeah, but like I say, I
No,
can make the
like I say,
argument.
Indiana, Penn State. Like again, this is that whole imbalance of the schedule thing.
Yep.
Indiana
Mm-hmm.
and Penn
And they took
State. If you
advantage
go,
of it.
they won at the very bottom of the barrel of the Big Ten. They didn't beat anybody good. Similar to SMU. SMU hadn't beaten nobody. Right. And that's they've gotten. You want to talk about getting the easy end of the ACC schedule this year.
Yep.
SMU. So I mean, but again, they got there now. So now it's like you can't punish them because they got into the game.
And then, everybody's keep telling me about SEC and all of that. Did they watch that game Friday night?
Right. Yeah.
Like Don't tell me Georgia Tech's a bad team.
Georgia should have lost that game. Being down as much as they were, I thought they were going to be done. They had some miraculous plays to get them back tied, and then it goes to that, like we said before, the stupid ass 2-point conversion overtime. Like it makes for good TV, but it's like again, it's not playing football, man.
I just don't understand. I don't understand why the second overtime you're making teams go for 2, even though after that you got to go for 2 the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's
like it.
They need to put it at like the 50 or something and make them have to drive the field, and then just do it that way. Like it's like even the 25 and in back in the day, you would have more overtime. So maybe if you started from the 50, maybe a field goal just wins it, because the other team can stop them. But again, I don't know what they need to do, but it's for your season or whatever to come down to a freaking 2-point play, man.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It was, like I say, even being just a fan watching the game, that shit was nerve wracking, dude. Like it was like, God, we got to get stopped right here.
Literally,
or like, we got to get this 2-point play.
You're Sponge. I don't think people understand like how many teams may have between 5 to 9 2-point plays for the year, if that.
Yeah, you don't have many 2-point plays. I mean, so because then you end up just running something to run, and that's why.
Yeah, because everything is condensed. You're from the 2. Everything's condensed. There's only so many routes you can run from the 2-yard line. So, like I say, if you're a coach, how deep in your bag do you have to go to get it? But shout out to both teams for sticking in there. And then finally Georgia was like, you know what? Let's just do what we do best. And at some point, Georgia Tech,
like I was impressed with Georgia Tech all year. Obviously, they came out the gate, beat Florida State and Ireland.
They just don't play the.
It's what's weird is
people like.
It's weird is like how they lost as many games as they lost. I know Haynes King was hurt, but I don't remember him being hurt like a whole lot. And then they lost early to Syracuse like week 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and then they just kind of like lost some games they probably shouldn't have. But I mean, they're one of those teams, like I say, if the way they play, it's kind of like Vandy. If they control the clock and they can control the run game.
Yeah,
get you off balance and they get those first downs. It's like, God dang, these guys first down again.
But yeah, it's crazy. But back to the Canes. I'm not gonna cry about it. It's different than what Florida State was last year. Miami actually had the opportunity to control their own destiny. They didn't take advantage of it. We said that about LSU. We said that about Ole Miss. Hell, I guess you can't really throw South Carolina in there, but you can. The teams that had control of their destinies, you didn't do it. So you can't be mad at anyone in a 12-team playoff but yourselves that you didn't finish the job. And going forward, Mario's got to know, like, we got to put the nail in the coffin. We got to figure out a way to put the nail in the coffin in the game.
Basically what it came down to me to where I guess the committee's eyes, obviously the brand of Alabama over Miami right now. And I think they took into accord the better wins versus one more loss situation. And like I said, that's the argument that we can have until the cows come home with everybody, So it is what it is. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Clemson and SMU for sure. You
Yeah.
know, whether or not Bama gets in or Bama gets left at home too. So, like I say, we can discuss that later on. The other game obviously was the Gators and the Noles. Gators went in and took care of business. They didn't play the cleanest and best game, but
They didn't have to.
Exactly. Florida State, like just all the turnovers, the fumbles from Chromo.
Florida did not even have to throw the football. They didn't have to throw the football if they didn't want to.
Montrell, Ball, like those guys ripping runs.
Why they were throwing the football is beyond me.
I feel like that was Florida State's best game defensive line wise. Like, where have you guys been? They were kind of harassing DJ.
Rivalry game, right?
Yeah. It's like, we play like that the rest of the season, you might have more than 2 wins. But
exactly.
But yeah, like I say, the Gators did what they needed to do, go in there, get the win. You get to 7-5. You know, now they're talking possible Gator Bowl. Hell, I heard Gator Bowl possibly versus Syracuse is one of the rumors.
Yeah.
But like I say, you got a lot of springboard momentum. The recruiting early signing day just finished yesterday. You're in the top 10 class, like from where you were at, 3 before that whole Scott Strickland, you were in the 50s, you jump up 40 spots, you get a ton of flips. Like the momentum swing has just been tremendous, and it's crazy.
Opening the coffers doesn't hurt as well.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. They basically have said, all right, we're gonna he's gonna be the coach. We've got the money, whether they're using the buyout money or whatever, But the thing that really did it was, DJ Lagway, the team responding and winning those games.
Did it. Ultimately, that's what did it. Lagway playing great, and I mean, I think we both were saying it from after the A&M game. Why even leave Mertz in there? Like, if you're gonna get fired, get fired going down swinging with your guy.
Yeah, no,
I think that's any coach.
Yeah, what sucks is the way they played so early in the year, those first 2 games at home against Miami and A&M, it's so disappointing how they played defensively, how bad Mertz played against Miami, and then just how they played defensively against A&M to let Reed just go nuts on them. And then it took, the bye week and them to come together moment to basically be like, all right, we got to change this up. We got to do this. DJ is going to be more of a focal point. Obviously, they were still splitting guys. They were still splitting time when they went into that road game in Knoxville. And Mertz was actually playing pretty well that night too before he got hurt. And then that was the night Montrell gets hurt. And then, DJ makes a couple big time throws. You get it to overtime. You end up losing the game. You're like, damn, that was one of the games where that was a signature moment to where we could have something could have changed. But
yeah,
it didn't happen. It is what it is. You take those things and you say, all right, that's a good thing. Then you have the whole incident where DJ gets hurt against Georgia, where you're like, man, like they were playing good. He hit him over the top. Like we were forcing turnovers. Beck was throwing the ball to us all night. We hung in there with the Yale quarterback. You're like, all right, you knew going on the road at Texas was going to be a rough night, a rough afternoon.
And today, December 5th, how many teams are sitting back saying that same thing we're talking about? I still see Twitter fingers out there in Oxford going all crazy, and it's like, dude, you guys had your opportunities just as much as anyone else.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Lane,
like I say,
Brian DK.
Bama, Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, those 9-3, those group right there. Like you lose 3 games, don't lose 3, lose 2. Obviously, where South Carolina, they can't hang their hat on anything because they lost to both of them. So like they're out of that race head to head. So
but it to me, it shows you, as long as you're not in the Big Ten and in the SEC, you pretty much better make it to your conference championship game. And even then, it's still not a guarantee that you're going to make the playoff. If they're sitting there saying that SMU is potentially not going to make it, which is, to me, is BS, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, did they have a favorable schedule? If you're going to punish them, you need to punish Indiana as well.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. They're not
at least Penn State could say we made it to the conference championship game.
Right.
But that's just the inconsistencies of everything that's going on in college football.
Well, it's just like Tennessee and Ohio State. They don't have to go play in that game. They're kind of like slotted where they need to
cruising.
be. Shane Beamer. Did you hear what
Shane
Beamer said? Did you hear what Beamer said yesterday? He was basically like, they were basically saying, should you start looking at your scheduling and basically make your out of conference easy, and you just
100%.
play your conference schedule. He's like, yeah, the way it looks is just win all your games and you're in.
Well,
And
I think that benefits. I guess I should have said that. That benefits the Big Ten and SEC schools. It doesn't benefit anyone else. It doesn't benefit the ACC. It doesn't benefit the Big 12 if you do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because then they're going to start throwing rocks at your house and saying your out of conference is terrible.
Well, the thing with that is
then you better win your conference.
Well, not even that. Where you can't argue is the fact that Indiana and those guys only have one loss. So it's like that's where, like, if Miami only had one loss, you'd be in. You're in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
It's like there's less room for error for the Big 12 and the ACC right now on perception of being a 2-loss team versus a 1-loss team,
which is so dumb because your conference is your conference.
Yeah, like, I get it.
You can't control your conference.
I don't disagree with that, but that's where it goes. It's like, if you were to rank conferences, you're like, the SEC is the best, then you got the Big 10, and then you got who's better, ACC or Big 12, blah blah blah. It is what it is. Like, that's the argument to the cows come
for
home.
For sure. It's just sad that we have to go through that. And I've said this before. I don't believe in conference champions being automatic bids. Like, if Clemson wins the ACC championship this weekend, should Clemson get a bye week and an automatic? No.
Yeah, no, not at all. I agree with that too. Like, this is the first year. This is the first year of it. Like, things are going to get tweaked. Things are going to get changed. They're going to have to do something to where, like I say, the automatic qualifier. Hell, we're probably going to have a 16 teams here, like the NFL in a couple years. So then you're arguing about the 17th place team not getting in.
Yeah.
But so, like I say, it is what it is for the first year. A lot of these teams, like you say, especially right there, we say on the bubble, control your own destiny by doing what you're supposed to do. And those teams, those teams didn't do it.
Yeah. At a 4 team, I get it. I get all the politicking, the bitching, the whining. But in a 12 team, if you handle Alabama, Ole Miss,
the 14 it'd be crazy. The 14 would be wild right now because you'd potentially have. Here's what's crazy. You'd have
you imagine Indiana being in.
No, they wouldn't be in though. They're not.
I'm just saying if they were projecting them to be in.
No, I'm just saying if it was broken down right now, what's crazy is this weekend you'd have 1 versus 3, and one of those teams would get eliminated probably. Penn State or Oregon.
True.
Now, if Penn State were to upset,
because they're conference championships,
and then Texas and Georgia is the other one. Where Texas is 3rd. So then, like, who's sitting at 5? Is that where Notre Dame is? Like, it would be pretty crazy. Notre Dame would be out right now, and then hoping, obviously, with some losses, they could slot into like number 4 or something if we were in last year's version of it or whatnot. As far as the other games, rivalry week, everybody wanted to plant flags and do whatever. Obviously, the big game, Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan's a 3-touchdown underdog, and
you say nut up. Can you say they're in their head? They're Ohio in their heads.
What's crazy is Ohio State fans, they hate Ryan Day. They want to fire Ryan Day, but they're in the playoff. So it's like, if they were to win the national title, would they even be happy?
Matter. This is what I keep trying to tell people. In certain rivalries, it doesn't matter. Yes, they're going to take their natty and they're going to be happy, and they're still going to remind that man every day, you did not beat Michigan. Not only did you not beat Michigan, you haven't beaten Michigan in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're going to remind him. And people outside of that region are not going to understand it. And they're going to be like, but you won a national championship.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way he's going to keep some.
And I think at this moment, if you're Ryan Day and you keep your job, you were hoping that Chip Kelly was going to be the difference maker in that rivalry. But clearly something happened in that week where the offense just wasn't what the offense was supposed to be, because I'm sitting there watching the game like, you have 2 first-round draft picks at defensive tackle. Mason Graham is a beast. and you continue to run the football at them. And you're going to sit here and tell me that at what point did you say, hey, guys, we can't run the football right here. We got 3 legitimate NFL wide receivers.
I think it's Will Howard.
Find creative ways to get him the ball.
I think they had when Will Howard threw that pick. I think they were like, "Oh my God, we can't let this guy throw it anymore." Like he was my biggest thing that I said. I didn't think he was going to make the difference. I said that last year, but when basically McCord was already transferring out. I was like,
but Will Howard does nothing. It's starting to look like it doesn't matter who's at that position.
Right? That's what I'm saying. They put so much on Kyle McCord, like he was not good. Like Kyle McCord had good numbers last year. He actually played pretty well against Michigan. He had some bad turnovers, but
they need someone to come in and be that difference maker. I don't know if it's the strength coach. I don't know if it's a quality control coach. Someone. Remember when when Ohio State couldn't beat Michigan and they brought in Jim Tressel?
Right.
And then Georgia couldn't get over the hump and they stormed the field against Florida at the cocktail party. And that was the moment where Georgia was like, we could play with those guys, because it was like, 7 years in a row that you guys had beat Georgia? So, like, you look at every rivalry, and you got to find out what is that thing that's going to put us over the top, because you losing to your rival, especially up there 4 years in a row, is just not it. And after the game, that guy looked like he saw 20 ghosts on the field.
Yeah, it was
and he had no idea where he was.
Yeah,
Ryan Day looked like he was having an outer body experience.
Yeah, no, it was kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie. Like I say, it's just I couldn't believe it. It was I enjoyed it. It was funny as hell. But now it's like, what do they do? How do they regroup?
I'm telling you what they need to do. I think they're going to be fine in the playoff.
I was about to say, can they regroup and be okay?
I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's 47-1.
Yeah, I know.
I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to win the national championship. But if they did, would it surprise me? No, because I think they're still that good. It's Red Sox, Yankees. Yeah. For 100 years, the Red Sox could not figure out how to beat the Yankees. And they bought in a bunch of idiots that did not care about the rivalry in 2001. And they figured out, we don't give 2 shits about that team in New York in the pinstripes. And those guys played like that. What do you need to do as Ryan Day? He has to figure out what he needs to do. I don't know. Like I say, is it the strength coach? Is it getting a new offensive coordinator? Is it bringing in someone else? Is it going out and finding a Cam Ward type player that just has cojones outside of this world and just says, I don't care. I don't care about that team up north. We're going to find a way to win that game. And the rest of the year, you don't need him the rest of the year. You just need him on that day. Now, the flag planting thing at the end, I'm tired of hearing people complain about it, because guess what happened as soon as that game ended? There's a clock in that building that resets, and it basically tells them you got 300 days or whatever, how many days until that game plays again. And in every building, there's a reminder that you have to beat your rival. And all week you hear, beat your rival. Those kids go on campus, beat your rival. ESPN, how many hype pieces did you see last week? Beat your rival. Twitter, beat your rival. And then when these kids are jacked up because they finally won and they're talking trash and they're ready to fight, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's happening. They're a bunch of 20-year-olds.
Well, like I say, that
high octane.
People have been planting flags and waving flags
for years,
forever. Like it's not something that just happened this weekend. Like it was
exactly. It just happened to be every game.
What happened was, I think they set the trend at noon, and then everybody sitting back at the hotel was like, you know what? If we win tonight, we're planting that damn flag. It's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah.
And but again, people have been doing it for years and years and years and years and years.
You look at Florida State's tradition. When they went to Gainesville last year, what did they do?
Well, they do it every year. They take the piece of the sod, they take the gator head, and they fucking trance it around, fucking blah blah blah.
I think that's almost more disrespectful than the flag,
right?
To me,
but it is what it is. I'm not gonna cry about it.
Win the game, just like Miami. Win the game. They won't do it if you win.
Exactly. So that's flag. Let it ride. Do it. But it is what it
Protect
is.
your
Like I say,
turf.
yeah. The other big game was the night game, the Texas A&M game.
Eh,
It was kind of a ugly game. It wasn't like I think Texas's defense is legit. They're real deal. What can they get from Quinn Ewers is the big question now. Can he be good?
yeah, Quinn
Uh,
looked like he may have to come back another year. I don't know if it's at Texas, but
right.
it's
Like I
hard
say,
for
I
me
do,
to
I
believe
do,
his draft stock is
I
high.
do like, I do like how Sark is inserting Arch to do certain things, almost to
Yeah,
like kind of push maybe
yeah,
Quinn. Like, hey, I'll put this guy in here, and you see what he can do. He can
yeah.
run it. He can do this. He can score a
Change the
touchdown.
pace.
Or just like I say, just that little lever of, hey, tighten up, or I will bench your ass, and we'll put Arch
Yeah.
in, and you can sit and watch. So
Like you say, it's curious. It's gonna be curious to see what happens during the offseason if Quinn decides to go to the NFL or does either one of them decide to hit the transfer portal because like you say, even in that game, it still didn't really look pretty. Like
no,
it's just
he
Texas A&M's offense just couldn't do anything.
no, and that's what I'm saying. I think Texas defense is legit. I think it's pretty damn good. I am looking forward to the rematch um, against Georgia this weekend.
Yeah,
But like I say, Texas A&M, like I say, they just Marcel Reed, for as good as he's been, it was tough sledding. I didn't like the
yeah,
play calls on that one drive there on the fourth down run. Like it was like just run it right up the middle. Like, come on, guys. Like
yeah.
Texas's D is stout in that
It's
that
legit.
middle. Um, yeah, as far as the other, rivalry week games, it was definitely some other good games.
Hey,
Some
cocky.
blowouts. Yeah, South Carolina,
Right,
that
South
was a
Carolina
wild,
beat Dabo.
wild, wild ending. And then, like I say, then Fran Brown gives Dabo. Like, think about Clemson. They're feeling shitty at like noon, 3 o'clock, and then later on in the evening, Syracuse does them a favor and says, "Hey, you guys get to go play next week."
Yeah.
Dabo. You see, Dabo's already talking too. We're the last team that went 15-0. We're the last team that went 15-0. We're gonna be the first 3-loss national champion, is what he said. So
I don't see it, but anything's possible. I just don't believe in that offense. I think their defense. I think their defense is legit. I think their defense is good,
yeah, their defense is
but
pretty good.
we'll find out this week against a high-powered offense in SMU. Is SMU ready for the big stage? We'll see. I'm not
Less,
sure, but I think SMU can put up enough points to beat
yeah.
Clemson this week. I don't know if Clemson can score enough points.
All right, well, let's hop into it. Like, who do you like? Who do you like this week? Let's go. Early game. Who do you like? You like Boise or you like UNLV, man? How you?
You just go Boise. I think Boise. I think Boise's on a mission. If UNLV can't get that offense going, the go offense, they can't get it going. I think Boise's going to win. Can you slow down Aston Genty? I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Who you
why
like?
I got a sneaky sensation that UNLV is going to upset them and knock them out.
Yeah,
But like I said, I could be completely wrong. UNLV's been one of those teams that's kind of like hit or miss. They've had a good season, obviously 10-2. They lost that early
yeah.
game to
That's what I'm saying. If
they
they can
lost to
get
Syracuse.
the offense going,
It's
maybe.
just
And
Boise.
even in that game, it was a shootout.
Yeah, no, it's just I feel like Boise's kind of been living by the edge here the last several weeks.
Yeah, no, they have.
And
They have.
against lesser teams too.
Yeah,
So I don't
The
know.
Wyoming game, they struggled a little
Exactly,
bit.
exactly. All right, who you like on the other game, that Friday night game? Tulane Green Wave versus the Army Black Knights.
Man, speaking of teams having a great opportunity to possibly sneak in, Tulane and they blew it. I mean, I think if Daly's healthy, I think Army could pull it out, but I don't know if it's mentally, I don't know if Tulane's just if they're out
Yeah,
of it,
yeah, they might be checked out for
they
sure.
might be checked out because like I say, you're sitting at 15. All you had to do is beat Memphis. You beat Army. You possibly could be fighting for a spot in the
Yeah,
playoff. I
yeah,
didn't think
especially
they were
if
going to
like
make it, but still, you
yeah.
never know if UNLV would have pulled the upset on
I was
Boise.
about to say that'd be the other caveat to that for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm leaning Army too. I don't know because I think Tulane just might be checked out, even though Tulane's capable.
yeah,
They're favored in the game, but
hmm
Army's been kind of on a mission and they've been balling. So
yeah, and it's a home game. It's at West
I'll
Point.
go, I'll go Black Knights. I'll go Black Knights.
Yep.
obviously your Saturday slate is the 4 games. The early game is the Big 12 game. Your Arizona
Sparky.
State Sun Devils versus the
Going
Iowa State Cyclones.
Scatterbone and the Sun Devils, man. They're
hard,
hot.
It's hard not to bet with them. You know, it's definitely hard.
They're hot. I don't think Iowa State could score enough points. If Iowa State wants to win, they're gonna have to play lights out defense. But I think Scatterbo in that offense, they're dude. What they did to Arizona last week was
annihilation.
Dude, and Dillingham, did you see his halftime speech?
He was fired up.
He was fired up, and he was not all gas, no brakes. And I think that's just the mentality they have right now, and knowing they could get in. I'm going to Arizona State.
Yeah, I like the Sun Devils too. All right, dog. The rematch, SEC championship game, Georgia versus the Longhorns. Texas is a 2.5 point favorite.
This is a tough one. I think it's a tough one. For me, how does Carson play? Yeah. That's what it's all about.
What do you think? What do you think about Carson? Did you hear Carson's comments this week?
I missed it.
So they're asking him. They were like, "Yeah, Carson, you know, you played your game Friday night, and you got to sit back and watch some of the games on Saturday. So I'm sure you watched some of the Texas A&M game, just to get a good feel of it." And he was like, he made the comment that like we all as fans and everybody else hates to hear. He's like, "I don't even like watching football."
I did hear something about that. He was down at Coral Gables watching his girl play basketball.
Right. So like he was like, I don't really like watching, because then all I do. Then he said he's like, then all I do is like I'm doing it like I'm watching film, and I'm like, why did he throw it there? Why are they giving him this look? What are they doing here? He's like, it just stresses me out, so I just don't like to watch it. He's like, but I watch the film. Obviously, they're a good defense. Blah blah blah.
Honestly,
part of the thing is these kids. I'm telling you, they don't. They don't love the game like we do.
They beat me to it.
Like they love it. They love all the stuff with it.
Yes,
they love everything that comes with it and all that. But they don't love it. They don't like back in the day.
Sleep it.
There's certain guys who do it. Like Travis Hunter. He cares about it, but he likes all the other stuff too. But he's the guy who's going to be in there in the gym working.
Like Shedeur. You can tell Shedeur loves it.
Yeah, he likes all the stuff, but he's also a guy who's in like he's going to be in it, But again, that's the problem with these kids now. It's just they got too much other stuff going on, so it's like, it is what it is, But
they're too busy worried about throwing hats and paybacks and all the other stuff.
It definitely comes down to, like you said, Carson. Does he cut down on the turnovers? If he doesn't
turn the ball over, Georgia wins.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like you said it, you've been on it all year. Georgia just doesn't look like the Georgias of the past. Their defense has been as good. Obviously, Carson has been the problem on offense, where when he turns the ball over, they stink on offense. Can he clean all that up? That's the biggest question mark. They don't have those dynamic guys like the Bowers, and like I say, Ladd McConkey looks like they definitely miss him. Like dude is balling in the league.
Yes, man. him and Bowers is on pace to break the tight end record.
I was about to say Bowers has like 1,000 yards receiving, man. I was like, God dang, he only has like one touchdown, but
even defensively, when you don't have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Nakobe Dean and guys like that, you got Malachi Starks, but he doesn't affect the game like a Nakobe Dean can or Jalen Carter, where you have that guy on the front seven that controls every play, can literally dominate and control every play.
That's Walker and 13. That's 11 and 13. Those guys have got to come to play.
Well, you would think, Michael Williams and Smile Munden would be those guys, but they look the part. They just haven't played the part.
Yeah, they played pretty good in that first matchup, so they're gonna have to play good again. And like I say, it's going to be an interesting game.
What did you learn from that first matchup?
Yeah. It's like I say, I lean Texas on this for some reason. I don't know. I just feel like, I feel like Texas is, I think they kind of are like the most completed team. It's just they haven't had a chance to play like the SEC schedule where you're like, okay, they played Bama and they beat them, or their one loss was to Georgia. So I don't know, but it's like I say,
offensively, outside of the Florida game, their last 4 or 5. Offensively, they just haven't looked good.
Here's the one thing I will say. We know Sark loves motion. After watching Georgia Tech, you got to think like, let's motion the hell out of these boys. Let's put in the motion package here. And let's do the triple reverse like they did against Florida. But
for
I don't know.
sure.
I think it's gonna be a banger of a game, heck of a ball game. And like I say, we'll see what happens. But I
Yep.
guess I'll go Texas lean. Then obviously the two night games are your Big Ten championship and your ACC championship. Penn State, Oregon. Who you got? The Ducks? Are they just going to roll? Are they on a mission? Can Penn State get a win? Can Penn State
Quack,
get an
quack.
upset?
You could get a Big Ten championship game ticket for $12.
Man,
That tells
that's
you everything
crazy.
you need to know about that. I think
What's wild is
Oregon.
the line's only 3.5. Is that like a
I don't.
lead pipe lock blood bank like Oregon by 4?
Yeah, I think Oregon's offense is pretty good. They've had their issues, but if they could find a way to slow down Tyler Warren at tight end for Penn State, I I, I don't believe in the Penn State offense.
Yeah,
I
Penn State,
just
man.
don't.
Like I say, the biggest problem the last 2 seasons with Penn State is they got no weapons on the outside. Zero. They got
Yep.
nobody to threaten to stretch the field. They got nobody to worry about.
And how
Like
do you?
people really don't worry about a tight end. Like they do, but if he's the only guy, like
And
they're
think
not stressing over that.
and then
It's just
Spuns,
not.
think about it. I said some of his numbers earlier against the USC. He had almost 250 yards
Yeah,
receiving as a tight
yeah,
end, and they still almost lost.
yeah. I know. And well, on top of that, now he's being their running back too. It's like you guys got what's crazy is you guys got Singleton and Katron Allen. It's like
Katron
what
Allen.
like what I don't know, man. I do like Penn State's defense, so I want to
Yeah,
see
their
that
defense is
matchup.
good.
I want to see that defensive line versus Oregon. Can they give Gabriel a little bit of pressure? Can they give him some trouble? But I do love Oregon's receivers. Now,
Now,
obviously, the
what
weapons.
does benefit Penn State if they don't win the game? You got to go to Happy Valley, and God knows what the weather's going to be like if a high powered, if an SMU, just say an SMU had to go up there,
Right.
or a high powered Texas has to go up there and
Yeah.
play in Happy Valley at night, and it's 3 inches of snow and the weather is blah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like that. Like again, I just want to see the matchup. Plus, this gives Oregon another game where they've had because Oregon's kind of been coasting too for
Yeah, because
a
their
while.
schedule's been. I mean, not their fault that Michigan's been whatever.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like after that Ohio State game, who have they really played? It's
Nobody.
like that's what I'm saying. So it's like
Yeah.
this will definitely be. I know Lanning's putting on some great performances with his videos and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah. All right, last game of the night, the ACC title, the ACC championship game in Charlotte. The Clemson Fighting Dabo Sweeneys versus the SMU Mustangs.
If the moment's not too big for SMU, I could see SMU hanging 20 on them boys. I think
Yeah,
Rhett Lashley doesn't get enough credit as a coach, play caller, all of the above. Now Clemson's defense is legit. I think everyone would agree about that. Now offensively, I just don't know. I don't think SMU's defense is as good as a South Carolina, but I think they're good enough to get some stops. And Clemson can't let that offense get going.
yeah, no, I agree. I think the difference in this game is, what is Clemson's defense going to do? Because I think their defense is pretty legit. So it's going to I think it'll give SMU a little bit of problems. But on the flip side, Cade Klubnik, can his legs be the difference in the game? He's been a good running quarterback. I want to see what they can do because I don't know how good SMU's defense is as well either. So could you get a shootout situation? Who's going to make the big plays, whether it be, SMU's offense or can Clemson generate some stuff offensively with themselves? I can't put my finger on it either because it's like, Clemson's got the 3 losses, but obviously they lost to Georgia and South Carolina last week, and then they lost early in the year to who did Clemson lose to? Who's Clemson's other loss?
Let's see. It was.
Why am I drawing a blank
up right now?
Louisville,
who has a good offense. I would compare Louisville and SMU's offense. They're kind of comparable. Yeah. The only difference is I like Brashard Smith at running back, and I think SMU has 4 legit receivers where they can spread you out. And like I said, having a dynamic quarterback in Jennings with a dynamic running back / receiver in Brashard. Does SMU leave in enough protection to help keep him upright? Because Clemson's front four is really good. If SMU's if their offensive line can control the Clemson front five, front seven, I don't see it. Like I said, I don't see it being close. But if they could harass Jennings and keep him in the pocket and get some sacks, Clemson may have an opportunity. I just don't believe in that offense.
Yeah, I think SMU does get the win and makes it easy for the committee not to have to do anything. Everybody's just in place.
Yeah.
And then I think, but I wouldn't be all surprised if Clemson does win the game either, just because they're capable. It's going to come down to what kind of game Klubnik has. Like Klubnik needs to have a good game.
For sure. And if you're SMU, are you ready for that moment? That's a big stage you're on.
No, for sure. Like I say, it's and that's the thing where Clemson's been in that game. They've been here before.
Yep.
They're not going to be wowed by it. They're going to be ready to go. So it's, they've had definitely comparable opponents when they played the Pitts and the Virginias and the.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm looking at SMU's schedule too right now.
They haven't played anybody.
I know, man.
The one game.
At least the one thing I will say, the last two games they beat the hell out of Virginia and Cal.
They did what they were supposed to do.
They had a 10-point win against BC. I know they had the 1-point scare win against Duke. Yeah, they did beat Louisville by a touchdown. So they had their one loss, obviously, early in the year to BYU. But yeah, like I say, I think what's great is I think all these games actually have some pretty good matchups and some pretty good storylines. Sure. So I think we're in for a pretty good day of some college football, even the Friday night game. So like I said, that's the good part is we got some good games. A couple of these games are going to lead to situations for the final 12. Like you say, everything's pretty much set except for that Clemson SMU game. That's where
some Iowa State ASU.
I mean, but one of them are going to be in. I'm talking about for as far as like moving Bama in or out type situation is that Clemson SMU game. But
yeah, that's why I wouldn't mind Clemson winning just to see what the committee does.
Some chaos.
Yeah, I just want to see what they would do.
Yeah, no, that'd be an interesting caveat for Sunday morning for sure, because they would definitely have to make a decision whether or not they think that Bama deserves to jump them after sitting at home versus playing in the ACC title game. So yeah, I don't know, but like I say, it's finally here. And like I say, the other shuffling will be like, if Penn State were to upset Oregon, then Oregon will have to play in the first round versus being at home, getting to bye. So
but you would
same
have
with
to go
Texas.
Alton, though.
Yeah, Texas and Georgia, like the winner of that game is going to be getting the bye.
So like you say, how does the first round bye, does it benefit you in a sense? I mean, I guess it would for health reasons, but like I say, if I'm an AD,
it does. Like I say, to me, the best spot still, even with all of it, is the 5 spot because you're going to play the 12, which is going to be probably Boise or UNLV.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get the weakest of the 4, so you might get like a SMU or Arizona State or whatever. So let's just say
reseed. Going forward, reseed.
Yeah.
Get rid of automatic bids if you're a conference champion. I think you should be in if you're a conference champion. I'm cool with that. I don't think you should get automatic first round bye.
Right.
Maybe the first 2 rounds home games. That's not the worst thing. I think ADs and conferences would love that.
Right.
But anything on your mind that would change the playoff?
No, like I say, I'm with you on that because again, the good part is this is kind of like a trial run. We're going to see how it works, and for the most part, I feel like it's been okay. And we'll see. Like I say, if at the end we feel like somebody gets shafted or not.
Because I would assume with 16, the first 2 rounds would be at home.
Right.
Would be home games. I would assume the first 2 rounds would be home games, and then semifinals would be the bowl games.
I think you could still institute some buys as well with that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the second round when you add 4 teams, that's an extra round. So why wouldn't you try to use a home game?
Right.
In my opinion.
Definitely so.
And then that would give everybody an opportunity to at least have one home game because it'd be cool to see a home game in Tuscaloosa,
Right.
or in a Gainesville, or in Austin at Texas, or Outson. You know what I'm saying? So it would be cool if people had the opportunity to see their team on their home site for a playoff game, not
Yeah,
just because they didn't
that's
win
the
their
other question.
conference.
That's the other question. How would this Miami team go having to play up like in Happy Valley in 3 weeks?
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
like,
everyone
they
keeps
probably
talking
look
about
like
the
I don't want to. I
SEC.
don't want to be. I don't want to be here.
No, no. I think that'll be most Southern teams.
Oh yeah, for
How
sure.
would Texas go up to Happy
Yeah.
Valley
Yeah,
or
well, like I say,
Alabama?
that's gonna happen. Like Tennessee having to go to right now, if it's set, Tennessee having to go to Columbus week 1 of the playoffs. That's gonna be damn cold, you know. So
And it could slow down that offense, because where your strength is your speed, when you think about it, with that veer and shoot they run, where they want to up tempo and go and be fast. If the field is not up to that standard of being fast, it could
yeah, for sure,
neutralize a lot of things.
for sure. Like I say, it's definitely going to be things to look at, and obviously after it's all said and done next weekend, we can even criticize it even more and see what they do and what they need to tweak. And I'm sure,
Yeah, they
obviously,
will.
they're in
They
they're
will.
in the works. Yeah, for sure. So, like I say, it's for the most part, the season's been good, and it hasn't taken away from the season. It's made it more fun, in
No.
my opinion. It's made a lot more teams more alive. Like even South Carolina fans and Ole Miss fans and all those fans are still trying to jockey all the way up until the last week of
Well,
the season.
remember, I was about to say, remember when they were saying, "Oh, it's going to make the last 2-3 weeks of the regular season null and void. No one's going to watch because everything's going to be settled." I think
Yeah,
everyone's been watching until the end. Like,
yeah,
nothing's
no, for
been
sure,
guaranteed other than Oregon.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they've jockeyed themselves.
even Ohio State was kind of, but everyone knew they still had to play that game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. All right, dog. I'm checked out. I'm good. I'm done. I can feel my medicine head hitting my ass right now. So it was a good quick breakdown of rivalry week, a good quick breakdown of championship weekend this weekend. So everybody enjoy the official last weekend of the college football season before we get into the playoff talk. And like I say, like, subscribe, holler at your boys, and we'll hit you up next week. Hopefully we'll both be feeling a little better. You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
All right, my brother.
Yep. Later.